Welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about the impact of sustainability on brand image.
Wow. Heavy.
No, it's light.
I thought we were going to talk about brain surgery.
You can talk about brain surgery. I'm going to talk about brand image. Okay, so we're talking about sustainability. This is an important subject. Mm-hmm. It's not going away. It's here to stay.
Is it because it's sustainable?
It's sustainable.
Yeah. So that by definition, it's not going away.
Deep. Wow. No, sustainability really is a differentiator. It can differentiate your brand. It contributes to your brand's image. It speaks to the purpose of what you're doing with your company and your brand. I think it is more than just a side topic. It is one of the core values of many companies today.
Yeah, more and more so.
Yeah. And
maybe we should do a podcast about it.
What a good idea.
Oh. Is the cameras on? Should we do it now?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Sometimes we try to do things on our own because it's faster or cheaper. Like this guy. Sometimes that doesn't always go the way we plan it to.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that'll work.
That's where we come in.
Follow me.
Sometimes it's messy or confusing.
Yeah, let's get some air.
And you're not sure where to look or what doors to open. Or sometimes you wind up like this poor soul, and it's madness.
Well, at least she sees the value in outsourcing. But it turns out there's actually a lot of different places, prices, shipping restrictions. It's chaos. Take it from these three. You don't want to do this alone. There's a far easier way. Focus on what really matters and leave the branding to us.
Sometimes we ask ourselves.
We do.
We ask ourselves how to measure the impact of promotional products, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how could you, on the subject of sustainability, how can you measure the impact of sustainability on your brand image?
Okay. I have some thoughts on that.
Okay.
They died of loneliness.
So, well, I mean, really, when we were first in this business, sustainability wasn't really a subject. I mean, people just didn't talk about it.
No.
Like, you did your promo products and people talked about ROI always, but they didn't, and they talked about, environmentally friendly things, but that wasn't even till later.
Yeah, not early.
And then it became this super mainstream topic.
Yeah.
And, you had companies that wanted to have their image a certain way. And so they would talk about, we are diverse in our workplace, we embrace sustainability, things like that, because they wanted that image. But it seems like now it's a really, really core value that people truly and genuinely care about. And I think that's a really interesting and great thing that's happening.
Yeah.
It's becoming incredibly mainstream.
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was people thought they were supposed to address these things that they heard in the background. Now I think it's become more like the fabric of a company. It's in their guidelines and their belief systems and their mission statements. It's
right.
To kind of get, and I think that's evolved from nobody even thought about it to the hipsters went, we should be talking about this and we're going to, and then now it's kind of gotten past that where everyone's aware of it and it's now natural.
Yeah. I remember seeing this episode of Mad Men, I think it was, where there was a family and they had a picnic and they just left all their litter on the grass, like in some park. And you look at that and you're like, oh yeah, we used to be like that.
Yeah.
And then there were all these litter campaigns and like Don't Mess with Texas and that kind of stuff came out as a litter campaign and it gained steam. And now you look at a scene like that and you're like, I can't believe that we actually used to be that way. Yeah. And I think that's what's happening with sustainability. Yeah. The same thing happened with smoking. Everybody
yeah.
used to smoke. Remember when we used to be in LA and there was the Marlboro Man?
Yeah.
And that was sort of this iconic sign on Sunset
Yeah,
Sunset
he
Boulevard,
was
right? Yeah, he was the big, and it's just, it got taken down. It just became, smoking became so out of favor.
Yeah.
And I think, these manufacturing practices that are polluting the environment and everything, or, filling landfills
Yeah.
higher and higher. And it's not okay anymore. It's like
it's
smoking
filling
became
up. It's filling up the world.
It is. And our population is increasing. I mean, we have so many more people on the planet now.
Yeah.
So you kind of, take the big picture of that and you see that it's going to be one of those things where we look back on it and we're like, I can't believe we used to do that.
Yeah. Even now, probably.
Yeah.
Right? Silly things
I can't believe we used to leave litter in the park. I can't believe we used to smoke. I can't believe we used to, dump toxins into the ocean.
We're going to say very soon, I can't believe we couldn't recycle plastic all the way to natural
Yeah,
forms.
or I can't believe we used to use plastic, single-use containers.
Yeah, and just throw them away.
Yeah, it will be so foreign. I mean, I think so. I think that's
How
where
far
we're
away
headed.
do you think we are from that?
We're still evolving. We're always evolving.
Yeah.
Urgency's
up though, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's just only so much space on this planet.
Right.
So, I think awareness comes up for us as like, I feel like I'm kind of like, I don't want to be like a lecture-y here, but I just feel like our group awareness as humans, it progresses. Like we thought smoking was cool, and then we kind of realized it wasn't as cool as we thought.
Yeah.
So,
someone can get an eye poked out or cancer.
Okay, so we're going to talk about sustainability, brand image, all kinds of good stuff. So stick around and we'll be right back.
My involvement with the Utah Arts Alliance is mostly doing public art projects, and I see Dreamscapes as a huge public art installation. So I just kind of want to take art and I want to put it all over the place. I want to put weirdness everywhere. My name is Ashley Brown. I am the public arts manager and also the manager of Dreamscapes for the Utah Arts Alliance.
The Utah Arts Alliance is a local nonprofit. We've been in Utah for 20 plus years. I'm Casey Lane. I'm the volunteer and public arts coordinator for the Utah Arts Alliance and a residential artist of Dreamscapes. Our mission is to bring art in all forms across the valley and making sure everyone has the opportunity to be a part of and create that artwork, no matter what that is. It's an immersive art experience. So rather than just like looking at pictures on a wall, you're like literally walking through. I think except for like the hardware, everything in there is something that was going to be thrown away.
I think sustainability has always been one of our core faculties of Dreamscapes. Its initial inception was how do we work with our local partners that we would pull in for festivals and stuff, and maybe new partners that we wouldn't be able to work with, and take stuff that they couldn't use that would end up in landfills and give it to artists and turn it into cool art.
The dreamers' jobs are just helping enhance Dreamscapes and make it better, whether that's fixing things or making new art or kind of anything like that, really. My name is Izzy Beauchesne. I am one of the local artists and dreamers at Dreamscapes. My spring break, I was supposed to go on vacation and I'm like, I can't. And I spent my spring break here. I did a lot of miniatures growing up. For the build of Dreamscapes, someone gave me the mailbox and a mannequin, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
I love getting to show people that they can be creative. It's just a matter of having space and time and materials. And it's been super rewarding. I would never put anyone to a spot where I think they're gonna fail. And if they are and it's just not something for them, let's try something else.
The Utah Arts Alliance, they really build a community. I've always loved art, but I was never I never called myself an artist. And I went to Dreamscapes with my best friend for her birthday, and I was like, this is amazing. And then when they moved locations, my mom was like, oh, we should volunteer. So I helped other people at the second build, and I volunteered, and I was at the front desk, and it was kind of like an internship, and that's what I was doing. I turned in a volunteer to Casey's assistant, and I started going to all the festivals and helping with the white party, and that's how it started.
Having the space that we've never had before as Dreamscapes for either nonprofits or people who just need, like, who can't spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a venue space but need a place to be to hold a community event or their own personal event is extremely important.
I don't think we've ever had a space quite this big. Like, since we've moved in and taken over this top floor of the Macy's, it's been really cool to see like how some of our events have really grown and evolved. This would have been the third white party that we've had here, and it's just gotten better and better, and like having so much time to like really curate this space per events has been really cool.
We did our SLC white party. It is our annual fundraiser and place where everyone can come and just be outrageous and have a really good time and supporting a really good cause, which is the arts.
It's a fundraiser, but really it's just like a celebration of the arts. I can't go because I'm not 21, but I love helping it, and I love like meeting the volunteers and all the people and like doing decor for it. It was at the fair, like the fairgrounds, and I did like miniature little like fairy houses and stuff like that. People liked it so much that like they took it home. So a lot of the like art that I did, like people would just take home.
A brand, I believe, is a whole portfolio. So like if you have a particular aesthetic, a particular style, you want it to be recognizable that it's you, and you walk through Dreamscapes, you could probably walk through and pick out which room was mine. Your brand should be so recognizable that even if people don't know your face, it makes them go, that's probably Casey Lane. And that's what a brand should be, even at a logo level. Should be easy to see, like Banksy. If you see a Banksy, you know, even if you don't know art, you know Banksy. If you see a swoosh, you know that it's Nike because it's consistent, it's recognizable, and simple.
People have even been like, we can tell like where you've been, and people can tell like the same person has made this. And I even, like most of the time when I work at the front desk at Dreamscapes, I'll have at least like 3 people be like, the mailboxes were my favorite part, or the room with like the rib cages and the mannequins, and I'm like, oh, that's mine, that's neat. When I started Dreamscapes, I never thought it would like, I'd be known for the mailboxes. Like someone, like I've had a few people be like, you're the mailbox queen.
So a brand can, sure, it can just be a logo, it can just be a symbol, but that symbol will mean things to multiple different people. It's a whole identity that can mean so many different things to what you want to do as a company. I would love to see Dreamscapes get more brand recognition in general, so like everyone can know about us and have a space that's fully its own. We're in a mall space, which is cool, like we're repurposing it, but there's always like the, when are we gonna get kicked out? Or like, when are we gonna have to like rebuild and do this all over again? So it'd be nice to have like a place that we can call our home permanently.
The arts here is awesome and it's thriving and it keeps getting better, but what I hope for my career is I just want to connect with people. I want to get to know my community more and meet cool people like you guys and just do cool stuff with it, and I want it to heal myself.
So there's always ways to get involved, and we're always wanting to reach out to our community because we do it for the people, right? We make art for people, and so we want people to make art with us.
The place where I live is really cool. The place, even though we're in the burbs can be cool. There can be cool pockets in the burbs that allow for things to grow. And we're kind of like the black sheep coming in to those nicely uniformed houses to kind of shake it up a little bit. That's our job as artists. So here we are.
You know, talking about all this and people genuinely caring about sustainability now,
Yeah.
it kind of goes along with your choice as a consumer. Like, we have a lot of choices, and we can buy what we value. We can buy what we support, and I don't have to buy, a plastic water bottle. I can buy this. I can put my name on it, and that's
Even
my choice as a consumer.
at the airports and stuff now, you don't have to go buy that expensive Avion bottle, or I shouldn't say Avion, but expensive bottle of water, because they now all the drinking fountains have given you clean water and you can fill it up. And I see quite a few people standing in line to do that.
Yeah. And I think we're starting to get even past that, because people want to know, how are you making this product?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a refillable water bottle, but who made it?
Yeah.
What kind of manufacturing practices?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Where does it all come from?
Yeah. Yeah, people used to never think about that, I think. Or
Yeah.
not, I shouldn't say everybody. Some people probably did, but I never used to think about that stuff.
Yeah.
This is a new product that came out that I thought was pretty cool. That it was a water bottle, back to the water bottle.
Yeah.
But it was a water bottle that was ocean friendly.
The guy dives down and gets the material to make the bottle. So he's delittering the ocean. Is that the one you're talking about?
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. Delittering? Is that a real word?
No, I mean,
No,
is that really
one of the
like
companies is that they dive down and they get this
is that how they make the
recycled.
ocean
Yeah.
bottle?
Yeah.
So this ocean bottle, and also they give back a portion of the proceeds for more ocean conservation.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting, but I didn't. Are you sure they
I
dive down?
am.
And
I
that's
remember
pretty
going, you
crazy.
guys, I thought it was pretty brilliant that the guy was obviously a scuba diver. And he turned that into his living. So he goes scuba diving. He picks up garbage out of the bottom of the ocean, recyclable stuff, and take it down to it's close to the form that is usable. And they remake. I forget what they made though. Do you remember what they made? They made little keychains and stuff like that.
Oh, that's something else.
No,
I was thinking,
that's
no,
on the
that
podcast
no,
now.
I like that though. I know what you're talking about. I think there's benefits obviously to the environment for sustainable practices in manufacturing, and so that goes for manufacturing anything, including promo products. And the benefits are there definitely for the earth, but are they also there for companies?
Yeah.
I mean, you got your company core values, you got your brand awareness, but if you align those kind of values with your brand, like it's a part of your actual brand, I think that's pretty powerful.
We're seeing more and more suppliers, I think, that make the stuff that we sell that are paying more and more attention to that.
Right.
It's not just using, whatever.
Well, yeah, on the plastic subject that we talked about last episode, a lot of the promo products that we used to see were really the crappy, plastic items.
Yeah, stuff that can't be broken down. Right?
No. And so that's really changed a lot in our industry. I think that a lot of times we hear the buzzword of differentiator. What is your brand's differentiator?
Yeah.
Because there is so much competition. Why should we use you as opposed to somebody else?
Why don't we go to break and we'll talk about that? So we're back. Thank you for staying with us. We're going to talk a little bit about the phenomenon of Stanley and the knockoffs.
Okay, yeah.
Right? The saturated market, and Stanley made a huge comeback this year, speaking of trends, right?
Right.
And now everything I get is, this is our answer to Stanley.
Right.
Which is pretty interesting because will people buy this? Do they want Stanley, or do they want Stanley's little Stanley's little skin-kneed cousin?
I have a little Stanley skin-kneed cousin. Actually, I know I was told this really clashes with my jacket, but
This part's going to be in
just
black and white.
Yeah. So I love this. This is not actually imprinted. This was a sample, and I know it's good because we got a bunch of these samples in, and I just love this. I use this every day.
Well, that's Pelican. I can see it.
This is Pelican, and it's not Stanley. Are we allowed to be saying these brands? We maybe anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're allowed to say whatever we
it's a
want.
different brand, but it's really comfortable to hold. It holds a lot, and I love the color.
Now there's some that are Pelican, which is in and of itself its own brand.
Its own brand. Yeah.
But there's also some that are just importing Stanley-like things that don't have any name, right?
I've seen these that are super crappy,
Yeah.
and I've thrown them out.
Yeah, there's some that, just aren't made as well, which
And
is
throwing things out, Bob, that we don't like is not sustainable.
shit.
Sustainability can be a brand differentiator because, people genuinely care about sustainability now. I mean, they're not just kind of like looking away from it. I think that, it goes back to like if your values align with your customers' values, then, that's a powerful partnership. And so if you are promoting sustainable products, you're going to attract people who value that. And I think that's a nice way to differentiate your brand, or define your brand. It's
Do you think at this point that people will notice, okay?
Yeah.
You as the buyer for the company spent the money on something sustainable. I'm walking by. What do you think the awareness of the onlooker going, hey, those guys, they took the time to be sustainable. Have we gotten that awareness yet, or is it?
Sometimes I think, sometimes you can tell that something's made of recycled products or materials, but, and sometimes it'll have the recycled,
Yeah. Do you think we should advertise that, or do you think it's just doing the right thing and people will notice kind of thing?
I think you always have to talk about your good works, and that's PR. But it's, if you're really doing that and you're doing it on a genuine level, not just, some people like to just
be liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like.
But even if they do it to be liked and they're sustainable, that's still better.
That's still good, right?
Yeah.
That still counts.
Yeah. Yeah. What's a good question for everybody is, do you notice if somebody's paying attention to recycled materials or sustainability? Like, is it visible on the planet? I remember the early T-shirts, like we talked about, they used to advertise it, but that's going away. So is it important? Does anybody, and we're doing it for the right reasons, but are we doing it for people to notice, or are we just doing it because it's better for the environment?
Let us know what you think in the comments below.
4, 3, 2, 1. Skip. They're still here. Are you guys still? What? Oh, ad lib?
We didn't.
Hey, have you heard about the one? I don't know any jokes.
Just talk about promotional products.
Welcome back, everybody. How can you measure the impact of sustainability on your brand's image?
I think I know this.
Okay, you go.
A tape measure. Imprinted with a logo on it.
Made with recycled materials.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Wow. All right. How do you measure the impact?
That is a really tricky question. And this is something that we ask ourselves in our business. Are we, when we advertise or we do our self promos and things like that, how do you measure if it's effective? Do you say, oh, I got, so many new sales?
It's hard to measure that.
New customers or something like that. Or what was, how much did our sales increase over last year this time?
Yeah.
You can do that, but sometimes it can be really hard to trace.
Well, it falls, the same thing happens with social media, right? How do you know if any of this works, or how do you measure an impact of something? And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter in sustainability because you're doing the right thing. And I think in general, if you outflow anything, stuff comes back. Mm-hmm. I can tell you what, if you don't do anything, I know what will happen.
Right. Nothing.
Right. So part of it is just, I heard an economist say that you don't know if there's a good idea and whether you should proceed with it. But if you don't do it at all, it's not that good an idea. And I was like, that's pretty good for an economist. They're normally horribly dry.
Yeah. So, but then you go, well, okay, how much are we going to budget for this? Because you need to kind of decide how much it's having an effect, or is there any movement there?
Yeah. Social sentiment, is that a thing? Is that something that?
I think so. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, but that goes back to your brand image. You're building your brand, and we have so many brands that we're really familiar with. How did we get so familiar with those brands?
Yeah, good point.
What do we look at a logo like we talked about last time? Do we look at a logo? Does it elicit some kind of, maybe even a subconscious reaction or a conscious reaction? Does it make you feel a certain way when you look at it?
When I see Fruit Loops, I want to eat them. Does that count?
So here's a question. How do companies measure the impact of sustainability on their brand? So, and just rephrase, are there certain brands that come to mind that have built sustainability into that brand? Because I actually can think of a few.
You can?
Can you?
No.
Well, okay. What about Patagonia? That is for sure. I get their
sustainable.
Oh yeah, they reuse and they recycle and they contribute to the planet. And I mean, I did
not know that.
I definitely know that Patagonia has built that core value into their brand, because when I think of Patagonia, I think of that. And they're kind of, they're more expensive than some other brands, but a lot of people want to buy from them because they feel like they're supporting something good.
They do.
Yeah.
I did not know that, and I would argue that I just think of Patagonia as being cool, and I didn't know so maybe the awareness is coming. Guys are always slower than girls on anything that has to do with awareness. So I didn't know that, so thank you. So in the case of a supplier of ours, I guess they could probably look at their sales and go, hey, 17% this year is sustainable type items. Last year it was 14%. So, I guess you could push your sales reps to try to make that more important.
Yeah. And I've seen suppliers increase their sustainable product lines by, maybe 50% year over year. Yeah. Like when we went to the trade show, we saw a lot of increase in sustainable products.
Yeah, true.
So that would be a way to measure it. You could go to your industry and say, how many of your product line is sustainable?
Now, your top 10 selling things, are they more sustainable than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Right. So how are people spending their money? I mean, that's definitely an indicator.
Hey, we'll be right back after this sponsor.
I'm going to show you how to decorate today. All right, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you to take this sweatshirt that's blank. We're going to spruce it up with the direct-to-foam transfer DTF with a hockey team called the Bruisers. And we're going to put that right here. Then we're going to take this blank backpack and we're going to offbeat it. The flex style patch right there, using these two presses, a flat press and a cat press. Let's get started. So I'm going to make sure this measures out in the right spot. We're going to first put the sweatshirt over the lower platen. We're gonna, I'm gonna put on first? My heat resistant gloves, so I don't burn myself. I got some, look how cool they are. They're like Michael Jackson. Oh! Okay, here we go. We're gonna lay it on here. We're gonna center it up, and we're gonna press down for 3 seconds to remove the moisture. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna have a nice clean surface here. So the next thing I'm gonna do is we're going to lay this straight. So the way to do it straight is if you look at the transfer, you see the print area. I'm going to take the print area, I'm going to match it up to itself like this. And as I match, so I find the center point, I'm going to give a little crease right there. So now on the top, I can see the center point of the logo. That's how I can match it up so I can go straight. Okay. I think we're ready to go now. I got my center line, it looks straight. Here we go. Fingers crossed. We're going. 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now lift it up. This is a hot peel, so you peel it hot. Peel off. Where's the logo? It's gone. And then, there you go. Official Bruisers team wear. I'm being told to come closer. Ooh. There we go. Feel how nice.
And you can see the stitching.
You can see the stitching through it, which means, my apprentice pointed out to me something very important, because you want to see it so it blends into the fibers. Okay, next we're going to apply this flex style patch on this backpack. And I'm going to put it somewhere right about here. So how I'm going to line it up, this is going to be used as a hat press because you have to have heat from the bottom and the top. The flat press only has heat from the top down, and the bottom is not heated. This is called a platen, not heated. If you look at it, look at the logo, how cool this is. It's called Flex Style. It's very metallic-y, it's very cool. So, I'm gonna lay it where I want. I think I'm gonna put it right there. What do you think? So then I have this over here, I don't know if you can see this, but this right here is called heat, it's a heat tape. So I'm gonna tape the logo on, and this does not get damaged, it peels off very nicely. You can see why I'm only doing one, I'm not doing a whole production run of hundreds, because that would be what I would use a professional printer for. I'm doing this for sampling purposes. We're gonna place the foam on top, and we're going to come down on this. And now it locked in. So now we got 20 seconds. Watch, it's gonna pop up by itself. This is a cool, more expensive one. All right, so I take that off here. Ooh, it's hot. Now I'm going to peel off the top. Voila. Look how cool that is. That is so rad.
So cool.
Isn't that amazing? We have an amazing logo that's not embroidery and basic embroidery. This is a logo that is so cool. It really elevates your product with your brand. And of course, look how quickly I can turn a regular blank sweatshirt to a branded sweatshirt that you can rock to your next hockey game.
In today's episode, we talked about how sustainability impacts a brand's image. And we also talked a little bit about how you can measure that impact through feedback or sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sustainability isn't going anywhere. It's not a trend. It's something we're moving towards as, humans evolve.
I think when a trend becomes part of the fabric, it's a good trend, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's here to stay. So, one thing I wanted to mention about sustainability and sustainable products is, consumer demand has a lot to do with this. It drives sustainability because, as it becomes more important to people, they want those products. And so if you just go back to just basics of, supply and demand, I think that's going to drive.
Yeah, demand will help supply, won't it?
Exactly. So that's why we're seeing more sustainable products, because people do care about it, and people are paying more attention to the products that they buy and to the companies they buy from. Yeah. So it's actually, it's an absolute central point to building your brand. You just, that's the way that's the direction
the way we're headed. Yeah.
That's where we're headed.
And it's funny how urgency will make something more important, and the urgency that's put behind sustainability is always like we're ruining the planet.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a huge thing to say that not everybody right away goes, yes. They go, ruining the planet. Come on, that would take a while. So I think some of the gap of people catching up is the idea that something's so big that you can't really wrap your brain around it. So therefore you just reject the idea completely.
Yeah, but you know what? There's also this thing about the tides, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to have your naysayers. Yeah, you're going to have people who are like, I don't believe in, this whole climate change thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But the tide is going to start to carry you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It's like with the litter and the smoking. It's like, are you going to throw your stuff out the window on the highway?
Yeah.
Probably not. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. And definitely don't forget to leave your feedback. We want to hear from you. Make sure you tune in next time when we dive into branding and marketing.
Oh, I can't wait. I know a lot about that.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.